Man, we have a bit of a book haul. That sounded so Oprah, but Ellie. It is both a hobby and a compulsion of mine. Okay, you know you've been talking too long when your battery dies. Was kidnapped and was found in a ditch. I got 7 books for $8, so I can't even. I know, it was cuckoo. The library thing set me over the edge. It really just did. I feel like I should talk less just to get me through this video. Hi everybody, it's Audrey and welcome back to Chapter and Converse. And welcome to what I'm gonna dub an accidental book haul because I went to my library and they have a book room that's open on a limited basis and I bought a whole bunch of books. So when you put that together with just some books that I generally bought, excuses, man, we have a bit of a book haul. So I'm gonna go through a whole bunch of books today that have come into my life recently, and I am also going to film an unhaul. So lest you think it's all in and nothing's going out, there is some stuff going out. The problem is, so I did a bit of a book reorg on my bookshelf and I have books in boxes, but there's a mix of books that I have read and want to keep with books that I want to unhaul. So I need to get a little bit organized because I actually was going to film that today and I pulled out a box of books and realized that it was a mixed bag and that's just not going to serve us well. So a sneak peek of what's to come. There will be an unhaul to help balance out what I'm about to show you guys today. So because I'm me, these are not actually in any kind of an order, but I will let you know what was library versus what was purchased or anything like that. But first up is a library book room score. It's 800 Grapes by Laura Dave. So Laura Dave wrote The Last Thing He Told Me. I have to look on the front because I keep saying it wrong, which I have but haven't read yet, but that was like her big, I feel like, breakout book. But she also wrote London is the Best City in America, which I read a few years ago and loved. And 800 Grapes is one of her older books. So I saw it. I have to say, I would never intentionally buy a book that wasn't in good condition, but I am very grateful for the fact that all of my library books are in really great condition. And P.S. I got them for $7, $8. I got 7 books for $8, so I can't even. But this is one of her older books. This came out in 2015. I'm trying to subtly look down and see. Came out in 2015. So this one, it says, there are secrets you share and secrets you hide. So this takes place in Sonoma, and we are following a woman named Georgia, and it says she has learned some important secrets. The secret number of grapes it takes to make a bottle of wine, 800. The secret ingredient in her mother's lasagna, chocolate. The secret to ending a fight, hold hands. But just a week before her wedding, 30-year-old Georgia discovers her beloved fiance has been keeping a secret so explosive, it will change their lives forever. So Georgia comes back to her family vineyard expecting comfort from her long-married parents and her brothers and everything familiar, but it turns out that her fiance is not the only one who has been keeping secrets. So, like I said, I absolutely adored London is the Best City in America, which was kind of slice of life. It was also, that was actually a wedding weekend, but this seems like she's running away from her fiance. But I really loved her writing. I loved the storytelling, and I'm really excited for this book. And having nothing to do with anything, but I am trying to do the A to Z challenge, and I need a book that starts with E, 800 Grapes, ding dong. Okay, the next book is not a library haul. This was a pre-order. This was one of my most anticipated releases of the entire year. I read it like a crazy person. By this time, I have probably posted about it ad nauseum on all the places. The Last Housewife by Ashley Winstead. Let's have the cover slip off. I don't think the justice is done on how tabbed up this book is. Sarah from Sarah's Nightstand and I accidentally buddy read this because she and I both ordered this from Murder by the Book in Houston. Ashley Winstead was doing personalized pre-orders and we both got it, I don't know, I think within like a day or two of each other. And I, of course, because I'm obsessed with Ashley Winstead, picked it up immediately. Sarah was going to wait because she was in the middle of something else, but then a good friend of hers who she was taking a road trip to see Karen Slaughter with was like, I just read it, you have to read it. This is so much backstory. So Sarah picked it up and we read it like together, and thank goodness, because we had the best conversation about it. This is so much book, you guys. This is so dark. I loved everything about this book. I knew it was a cult book. That was about all I knew about it. I had such a picture in my head of what this book was going to be, and I was so wrong. And I'm so glad I was, because I was just thinking about cults like NXIVM or something like that. You guys, I am taking a breath. I finished this book on Thursday. It's now Sunday. I still have not written a review about this book because I cannot, as you can tell, coherently put words together to talk about how amazing this book was. I'm still thinking about it. I am gobbling up every gob of information I can possibly get on this book. So in this book, we are following a woman named Shay, and she graduated college in New York 8 years ago. She is now married, living in Texas. She is legit hanging out in her backyard by the pool, painting her nails, and listening to her favorite true crime podcast, which is hosted by her friend Jamie, who she grew up with. And she finds out through his podcast that her best friend from college, Laurel, died. And didn't just die, but died at their college, where after graduation, Shay and Laurel swore they would both leave New York and never come back again. And Shay has not talked to Laurel since graduation and has all sorts of questions about what happened to her, and also thinks that something that they did in college might be related to her death. So Shay winds up going back to New York, swore she'd never return, but she does, and enlists the help of Jamie to figure out what happened to her best friend. So this was 1000% one of those books where as soon as I finished it, I needed to start rereading it again. And I actually went back and reread specific passages, because at the end of the book, you know what happened. So to like reread things that you now know were clues, I cannot wait to reread this book. I mean, I'll talk about it big time in my review, but the same feeling I had after I read Jar of Hearts of just, what just happened? This was the best book I've ever read in my entire life. Oh my God. The bravery, the power, the boldness, just the everything on the page, no holds barred kind of a book. Ashley Winstead is 1000% my hero as a writer, as a woman, as just a force of nature. I just obsessed, 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 obsessed. And I will get my thoughts together more coherently and give you guys a better review of this book. But hands down, this is like top book of my year so far, and will definitely be in my best of. The next book I have is another one that I got from my library, and this is Joe Nesbo's Nemesis. So I have yet to read The Snowman or The Headhunter, which are two of the books that I have. But I definitely would like to get into Joe Nesbo's book. So this cover is what grabbed me. This is a long series, and I know that this is a few books into the series, but I picked it up anyway because it's in mint condition. So the back of the book is 1000% what grabbed me, and I just read the first couple sentences. So it says, after a drunken evening with his former girlfriend, Anna Bethson, police detective Harry Hull wakes up at home with a headache, no cell phone, and no memory of the past 12 hours. I didn't even read beyond that. It's all I need to know. I love me a memory book. So I talked about Stay Awake by Megan Golden, which I haven't read yet, but came out last month, which is a woman waking up with no memory of things. And then on a much less sinister page, I talked about Laura Caldwell's A Clean Slate, where a woman wakes up with no memories of the past few months. So I love that as a trope of just what happened. And then there's more in the back of this that I don't want to read because I don't know if it spoils books earlier in the series, but I know I need to get into him. I really want to also, but I've just heard such great things about his writing and I feel like I'm missing out. So I snagged it. Switching gears, I picked up Husband Material by Alexis Hall. So I have talked about Boyfriend Material on here a whole mess of times. And this is the sequel, which came out in August. So I have been saving this for series September, so stay tuned for a full review on this one. And this is the sequel to Boyfriend Material, which follows Luke and Oliver. So in book number 1, we have a fake dating trope. Luke is the son of 2 rock stars. He is sort of unintentionally famous because of who his parents are. And then Oliver is a barrister. He is kind of the like uptight to Luke's more wild side. Luke has had a somewhat compromising photo of himself get out into the press. He needs to work on his relationship. And one of his best friends, Bridget, knows a guy who can help kind of be his fake boyfriend. And as fate would have it, Oliver is also looking for someone to help him out. He has a big event that is coming up and he just needs someone to attend it with him without a lot of strings and complications. But we all know in a fake dating trope, there's always strings and complications. So this is how their story continues. I'm really excited for this one. I listened to mostly audiobook, but also read boyfriend material, and the same narrator, I want to say it's Joe Jameson. If that's wrong, I'll correct myself on the screen. Also narrates husband material, so I plan to do a little bit of a mix of both, but I'm excited to get back into their world. It was funny, but it was also, there were very serious moments to it. There was a lot about family. There's a lot about understanding sort of your place in life and your place in the world and finding out who you are and kind of coming to terms with your past and sort of accepting. I always like these stories where, you know, your parents are your parents, but as you get older, you see them in a new light and your relationship with them changes over time. And I really enjoyed Luke's relationship, particularly with his mother. She is a riot. The group of friends is absolutely amazing. So that book is laugh out loud funny, totally heartwarming. I also totally cried. I appreciated that there was some heaviness to it, but not in like a dark murdery way kind of heaviness, but I really enjoyed it. It very much was like reminiscent to me of like an Emily Henry book like Beach Read, where like you weave in both levity and humor, but also with some weightier subject matter, which I very much enjoyed. So excited to get into this. I feel like I should talk less just to get me through this video. So next up, I have a novella by Holly Jackson. This is called Killjoy. This is a prequel to The Good Girl's Guide to Murder. This came out as part of World Book Day in 2021, and you couldn't actually buy it at the time, and I wanted it because of course I'm obsessed with that series, but it just like popped up on Book Depository, which I happened to be maybe browsing like a month ago. And it popped up as like, you might like this kind of a thing. And I was like, this is like available now? What? So I bought it. So I'm also saving this for series September because it's a novella and it's short and it's a prequel and it should just be like great fun. They're at a 1920s themed murder mystery party. So I'm just excited to see what Pip and her friends get up to. So I have a book series that I talked about in my series September non-TBR TBR video. So I bought the special editions of Vicious and Vengeful. So Vengeful is here. I showed it in that other video. I had hemmed and hawed about buying the special edition because I already have Vicious in like the US paperback, and I read it and I saw these and I was like, man, it says exclusive collector's edition, and I have somehow become garbage for exclusive collector's editions of books. So it is both a hobby and a compulsion of mine. So my plan is to reread Vicious and then read Vengeful, but I'm like showing you like the wrong side of both of these books, but they have like these beautiful end papers. They have embossed covers on them. I can't. I am a marketer's dream, you guys. I really, really am. They have built-in like ribbon bookmarks to them. How awkward could I possibly look on camera? And I'm just excited. So I read Vicious years ago. I remember core story. I should look at you guys when I'm talking. I remember core story of this. I don't remember details. So I'm excited to reread this and then get into Vengeful. And this one says it has a bonus feature, which includes a teaser for the upcoming Vengeful. Not much of a teaser, I already have it. And then it has an in-universe short story. So we'll see what that's all about. But I'm excited to get back into these books. I am excited for more V.E. Schwab. She's just, you know, I read this and Addie LaRue and I'm like, she's amazing. She is amazing though. So yes, I bought these and sorry, not sorry. Another book that I am not at all sorry about is Daisy Darker by Alice Feeney. So I just started to read this, hence the like 20 pages in, started to read this. So this is by Alice Feeney. I pre-ordered this from the UK because it came out earlier there. So I like had to have it. And there was a cover, which was white with daisies. I'll pop it up on this side. I thought that cover was so beautiful. I liked it better than the US cover. And I pre-ordered it. And then my pre-order arrived and this showed up, which I was surprised, but not mad. And confused, but not mad. And you've got these like marbleized end pages. So, because of course I follow Alice Feeney on Instagram, she posted a whole bunch of pictures of this book and talked about how it was a limited edition cover that was only available for pre-order. So I don't know how I got lucky enough to get this. It's stunning. Can you see? I feel like you can see the silver on this and everything. My eyes are looking the wrong way. You guys, not for nothing, this is brilliant. So this is a very, and then there were none, kind of isolation thriller. And I don't quite know what else is going on in this book. I was watching an interview with an author. I don't want to spoil anything. And the interviewer mentioned something about Daisy Darker and books in general coming out this fall. And I don't know if something was given away. So I'm not going to say it to you guys. Sorry, that was super annoying. So in this one, we have Daisy's family is all reuniting at her grandmother's house for her 80th birthday. And she lives on this island where when the tide goes out for like 8 hours a day, you are completely cut off from the world. So kind of like that book, The Club by Ellery Lloyd, where when the tide comes in, the road becomes impassable, so the island is all by itself. And that's what happens to Daisy Darker. And it sounds like people just start getting like picked off. So I'm a huge Alice Feeney fan. His and Hers is still my favorite of her books, so we will see if Daisy Darker will unseat that as top tier level. We'll find out, but just started it, so TBD. I'll let you guys know. The next book I have is also one I'm crazy excited for, and it's You're Invited by Amanda J. Atisa. So she wrote My Sweet Girl, which was her debut, which came out last year, which I absolutely loved, and I also knew I needed to have this. And this is a wedding weekend gone so horribly wrong. And it says, what could be worse than your ex-boyfriend marrying your childhood best friend? Getting accused of her murder, ... So we have a like destination wedding and the bride gets killed apparently, and our main character is accused of it. So here for it, I'm so here for it. So I loved everything Amanda J. Atisa did in My Sweet Girl, and I just can't wait to read this book. So this book I actually got from Penguin Random House. And they have a program which I was not aware of until my fab friend Sarah from Sarah's Nightstand let me know about it, where they do Penguin Rewards. So in this program, you sign up for free and basically you can enter the like barcodes and upload the receipt of books you bought that are part of the Penguin Random House family, and you earn points, and when you get X amount of points, you can redeem them for a book. Hello, this is not sponsored. This is just passing on some information that I didn't have until Sarah gave it to me. So I actually have a second book in this pile that I got through Penguin Random House because it's their umbrella over all of their other titles and imprints and everything. So very exciting, very excited for this book. And oh my gosh, I just think she's absolutely amazing. And she is another one who writes very smart, very snarky, very witty, very intelligent women, really intelligent books, really good thriller. I mean, she wrote one, which is what I read, but I loved that it felt very no holds barred, very all in, did not sugarcoat things, did not resist kind of putting in some of the ugliness of humans, and I just absolutely devoured it. So I'm really excited to read this. Okay, we're gonna get back into a bunch of the library books. Next up is Karen Slaughter's Pieces of Her. So I did not realize that Girl Forgotten was in the universe of this book. So I did just watch an interview with Karen Slaughter talking about Girl Forgotten that she did with the Poison Pen, which was just such a fun interview. And she was very much, and again, this is like a thing I talked about in one of my other videos, where it's series standalone, where you can read a book that's part of a series, but it functions as a standalone. So that's what she talked about with Girl Forgotten. But the main character of that book actually originates in this book, which I didn't plan to go out and get, but for $2 for like a mint condition book, I was like, sure. So in this book, we do meet Andrea, who is the main character of Girl Forgotten, and her mom, Laura. and something goes down at a mall while they're hanging out, and it says, what if the person you thought you knew best turns out to be someone you never knew at all? So it sounds like, while Andrea was definitely like in awe of her mom, period, and kind of looked up to her, her mom seriously blows her mind during this trip to the mall when she confronts a murderer at the mall. So I kind of, again, don't want to know much more than that. My game plan now is to read this because I have it, and then read Girl Forgotten, which is over here. So the odds of finding this, I don't even know what those are, but I bought it. I also picked up 2 more books in the Kay Scarpetta Patricia Cornwall series. So I picked up Book of the Dead, and then I also picked up The Bone Bed. So I read a whole bunch of her books, and I haven't purchased any since, and I'm gonna look, the Scarpetta Factor. And they had a handful of Patricia Cornwall books there, and the ladies at my library were so adorable. And I was like, I don't quite remember which ones I have, but I don't have anything after the Scarpetta Factor. So I picked up these 2. I also am missing some from earlier in the series, but I've been gradually either buying them or replacing mass market paperbacks that I had because nobody wants to read those. So these are later in the series. I don't even want to like look at the inside cover of them, but I am rereading the series. I started, I stopped, I need to start again. So I just picked both of these up because, again, peanuts for hardcover, beautiful condition books. And then I also picked up Hannibal by Thomas Harris. So this comes after Silence of the Lambs. I really wanted Red Dragon, which comes first, but they didn't have it. But I am optimistic. I have Silence of the Lambs. Optimistic that I'm going to love it and want to read more. So I picked this one up, and this is Hannibal Lecter's Story Continues. So we'll see what happens here. And then I picked up My Oxford Year by Julia Whalen. I bought this from Thrift Books. Thrift Books or Better World Books? I want to say I bought this from Better World Books. And I talked about how I have Thank You for Listening from Libro FM, which was one of my most anticipated. And somebody had asked if I had read this yet. And I'm like, I haven't, but I keep seeing it. And I immediately like looked online and found the thrifted version of it. So this is the first book that she wrote. So in this one, we're following an American named Ella. It's always been her dream to go to Oxford. And at 24, she's finally made it on a Rhodes Scholarship. And then she is going to, let's see. So she meets a man, it sounds like, and it says, a late night drink reveals a connection she wasn't anticipating, and what begins as a casual fling soon develops into something much more when Ella learns that Jamie has a life-changing secret. So Jamie is the guy that she meets, and she is faced with a seemingly impossible decision: turn her back on the man she's falling in love with to follow her political dreams, or be there for him during a trial neither are truly prepared for. So I have just heard really good things about this, and I'm very intrigued by it. She is the best audiobook narrator out there. I have loved her since Once and Again. I'm low-key obsessed with Julia Whalen, and I'm excited to have this. So I will let you guys know what I think when I read it, but you guys made me do it, so this one's on you. Okay, you know you've been talking too long when your battery dies. So next up is my other book that I got from Penguin Random House from the Penguin Reader Rewards. I'll put the link down below. Again, not sponsored, just sharing the wealth. And this is All Good People Here by Ashley Flowers. So she is the host of the Crime Junkies podcast, and this is Mystery in the Past, Mystery in the Present. This was in my August anticipated releases video. And it says, you can't ever know for sure what happens behind closed doors. So in this one, we are following a woman named Margot, and she returns home to take care of her uncle after he's diagnosed with early onset dementia. And it says she feels like she's walked into a time capsule. So 20 years ago, a 6-year-old girl named January Jacobs was discovered in a ditch hours after her family awoke and found her gone. Margot was also 6 at the time, and I think they were neighbors, and has always had that feeling that it could have been her, and the killer was never found and was never brought to justice. And then here we are in the present, and another young girl winds up going missing, and Margot is trying to dig into what happened and is finding out that like there's lots of secrets, and the townspeople are keeping lots of secrets, secrets in the past, secrets in the present. I'm very excited for this book, so stay tuned for this. And then my finale, which I realized I talked about, that sounded so Oprah, finale. I talked about this in series September as well, and it's The Family Remains by Lisa Jewell. And again, such a stunning cover. It's all just beautiful. So this is the sequel to The Family Upstairs, and I read that, I wanna say like in April or May, and absolutely loved it. So I read it knowing this was coming out as a sequel, and my understanding is we have some of the characters from the first book, and then we're introduced to some new characters as well. So Family Upstairs was 3 different points of view. We had a mystery in the past and a mystery in the present. Things were tied up, but also like some stuff goes down in that book. And in this book, we pick up some threads, and it sounds like there's also some new things that are going on here. So I'm very excited for this. I'm a longtime fan of Lisa Jewell, and I have heard just really, really great reviews about this one. So I'm super jazzed. I know I put really big expectations on how many books I'm gonna read in September. This is definitely one of them. So we'll see if I read it. And when I do, you guys will be obviously first to know. Yeah, no, I totally missed one. So I also have Firstborn by Will Dean. So I actually also got this from Murder by the Book when I got The Last Housewife by Ashley Winstead. And I mean, I can't just buy one book, but I heard great things about this from Abby from Crime by the Book. I have not read a Will Dean book, but I was intrigued by this one. And it says, the last thing a twin expects is to be alone. Molly lives a quiet, contained life in London. Naturally averse to risk, she gains comfort from security and structure. Every day is the same. Her identical twin, Katie, is her exact opposite, gregarious and spontaneous. They used to be inseparable until Katie moved to New York a year ago. Molly still speaks to her daily without fail. But when Molly learns that Katie has died suddenly, she's thrown into unfamiliar territory. As terrifying as it is, she must go to New York and find out what happened. As she tracks her twin's last movements, cracks begin to emerge. Nothing is what it seems, and a web of deceit is closing around her. So I just was totally intrigued. Marian Keyes is quoted on the back of this book. You guys know I love her. She wrote next level stuff, original, imaginative, thrilling. And Abby is absolutely one of my go-to people for book recommendations. So I figured, well, I'm buying a book, why not buy another one? The rationale is real, you guys. Book buying problems. Thank you guys so much for sticking with what I'm sure is going to be a super long video. I don't know how to be concise when I talk about the books, but let me know if you would rather I just kind of like high level talk about them, or if you want more information about the books when I do a book haul, because I know these get long. So I'm gonna stop talking now and save ourselves some time on the back end. But thanks for being here. Let me know if you have like read any, if you've picked up anything new that you're jazzed about, or if you just want to say hey. All good things down below. And I will see you guys in another video soon. I will talk to you guys soon, and I will see you when I see you. So take care, everybody. Bye.